I never usually do this to start out a review for a Monday Night Raw or whenever a bad show occurs. Usually, I do my normal intro and I say whether the show is good or bad. This instance, Monday Night Raw, usually I would say it was bad and I would say why it was bad. I'm actually going to start this video off very positively. I'm actually going to give you guys something very positive. That ending on Monday Night Raw tonight between Randy Orton and Christian, with Ric Flair giving Christian a low blow and Randy Orton giving Christian the punt, and then Christian getting carried off a stretcher. That ending tonight on Monday Night Raw was incredible. That was one of the best endings, in my opinion, to an episode of Raw this year. And it's very ironic because this was far from a good show again tonight. You could tell that Bruce Pritchard had full effects in this Monday Night Raw. But Randy Orton, the Viper, Randy Orton, is on a whole new level. That ending tonight was incredible. And I'll talk about it more when we get to the ending of tonight's video and what could be next for Randy Orton after what happened tonight. But this is your Monday Night Raw review right here on the Big Fight Field channel. We got a lot to talk about tonight. We got the post-Backlash show. If you haven't checked out my Backlash review, go check it out. I give you full details on what happened on the show last night, which again wasn't bad, but I also thought Backlash was not a good show last night at all. And then the ending where I got choked out by my brother, and what happened with the match. Got that again. So I will say something about that next week. I'm gonna keep it off my mind for this week. And if you haven't checked out the match with me and Eddie Mullins, it is still up on the Big Fight Field channel. And actually, we are at 214 views for that match. So I want to thank everybody who tuned in to the match and just the great responses we got. I want to thank everybody for that. And also, I could be starting work very soon. I have no idea when it could be. I'm going in for an interview tomorrow morning, so I will have full detail on what the future, like how the schedule is going to be for Big Fight Field. If I have to cut out some videos because of work, I hope I don't, but I will have more detail to tweet out tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, man, without further ado, let's just tune into Raw. Get started with Raw, which had a great segment with Randy Orton in the beginning. Cut a promo and he said he won the greatest wrestling match ever against Edge at WrestleMania. We know that Edge started this at the Royal Rumble when he had to be selfish and threw me over the top rope. And then at WrestleMania, he was the last man standing. But then he permanently took him out and sent him back home with Lyric, Ruby, and his wife, Beth Phoenix. And he said, quote unquote, "I'm the greatest wrestler ever after I won the greatest match ever, and I don't even need a title to prove it." We're going to get to that at the end of the video, man. We're going to get to that. That was a very important line. And then he said, Edge tore his bicep, successful surgery, and I heard he'll be out until July of 2029. So you got the heel dick, Randy Orton, which that was awesome. And then Christian came out and defended Randy Orton, defended Edge, and said, "You think Edge is done? You think this is it for Edge? Well, you're mistaking. And this Edge is going to be more determined when he comes back from this tricep surgery." And then Randy Orton challenged Christian to an unsanctioned match, and he would give him till the end of the night. This was great. This was a great segment by both guys, and eventually later on in the night, Christian did accept Randy Orton's unsanctioned challenge, and he had people like Ric Flair tell him don't do it, but Edge wanted to do it for Edge. Christian wanted to do it for Edge, and then you got the Big Show. Yes, the Big Show is back on WWE TV. We will get to that. We will very much get to that. But this was a great segment. This was only one of the very few things that was actually good on tonight's show. This was pretty decent as well. Angel Garza versus Kevin Owens. Decent match. It went about 7 minutes. We got bickering from Garza and Andrade. Zelina came out. Zelina was there, and then she said, "I am sick and tired of this." She walked away. She walked to the back. Andrade accidentally distracted Garza. Owens gave Garza a stunner, and Kevin Owens beat Angel Garza. After the match, she said, "You two need to stop arguing with each other. Instead of working against each other, we need to work together as a team." So, obviously, this is leading to a breakup between Andrade and Angel Garza. It's clear as day that they are breaking up. And I was thinking about this. a little bit last night, but more after this segment. And I don't want to feel like I'm copycatting, so I'm gonna give credit to my boy TM161 for this one. Make sure you go follow him on Twitter and subscribe to his great YouTube channel. But I'm going to give credit to TM161 here. He said that Andrade's heel run on the main roster has been a complete failure, and Andrade could use a fresh start. Maybe Andrade needs to turn babyface. And I was like, you know what? He's right. Andrade has been a failure on the main roster as a heel. He was only United States Championship once, never a world champion. Andrade, no question, he's world championship material. He is top 5, easily. Best wrestlers on the main roster. Andrade is easily top 5. And I do agree with TM. Maybe Andrade needs to go back to the drawing board and, maybe he needs a babyface. And it sucks that he's not going to have Zelina Vega with him, because honestly, he needs Zelina Vega more than Angel Garza needs Zelina Vega. But Andrade desperately needs a character change, while Angel Garza, his character is really good. Even though he's booked like a loser, his character's pretty good. So, you have Andrade the babyface and Garza the heel, and that could be a great feud. Imagine Andrade and Garza for the United States Championship in the near future. That's got money written all over it, man. Take my money. Take my money on that match. This was by far the worst thing on the show, by the way. This, what I'm about to talk about, was the worst thing on the show. We got a 8-man tag between the Street Profits, the Viking Raiders, and the Ninjas from last night. And they did a backstage segment before this. And this has Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon's fingers all over it. This was atrocious. 2 minutes. The Profits and the Viking Raiders destroyed Akira Tozawa and his ninjas. 2 minutes. Akira Tozawa just stood on the ring apron. Then the big tall ninja came in, the 7-foot African American, and they held back Eric, and they all got in the huddle, and they all said, "We want the smoke," and out came the Big Show. Big Show. And then the Big Show squashed the ninjas, and Akira Tozawa and the Big Ninja ran away. So there's so many issues to this. There is so many issues with this. Number one, this is what we have Akira Tozawa do. Really, this man was a great wrestler for the 205 Live division. Remember when he was the Cruiserweight champion at one point in WWE? Now he's in this stupid ninja gimmick against the Viking Raiders and the Street Profits. A ninja gimmick? Really? That's the best you have for Akira Tozawa? If you're going to use Akira Tozawa for that, you might as well just send him down to NXT, man. You might as well just send him down to NXT because this is terrible. And then number two, they are desperately trying to make this stable, trying to make this whole ninja thing look like the Dark Order. So they are copying off of AEW, trying to make these ninjas look exactly, not exactly, but look the same as AEW's Dark Order. And so far, they are failing miserably. Where they have Akira Tozawa act like Mr. Brody Lee. Come on, man. Really? And then the Big Show. The Big Show. 1 week. The first episode. Paul Heyman is gone. Bruce and Vince McMahon. Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon bring back the Big Show. And they're probably going to have Big Show lose as this 7-foot African American dude. I don't even know his name. If you think I usually respect people's opinions, I'm that kind of a guy, I'm a nice guy, but man, if you just enjoy this stuff, I don't know what you're watching, man. I don't know what you're watching if you enjoy this garbage. Really. This is terrible. And you wonder why ratings are in the toilet. It's because of shit like this. And this is only one episode of Raw with Bruce Pritchard in charge. So we're definitely getting more of this garbage. Get ready, folks. It's going to be a long summer. It's going to be a long summer. Seth Rollins was in the ring, and he said, unfortunately, Rey Mysterio couldn't make it to Raw tonight, but his son Dominic looks like he's on his way. And Seth Rollins gave Dominic two options. He could either stand with Rollins and join the Disciples, or he could be just like Rey Mysterio and be a sacrifice. And then Rey got on there and he said, I can't control what Dominic is doing, and don't you dare lay a finger on my son. And then they they pan the camera back with Rollins on his knees, spreading his arms out. Dominic comes from behind, attacks Rollins, attacks Murphy, and gets away from Austin Theory, runs into the crowd, and could be setting up, man. We could be setting up for Seth Rollins versus Dominic at Extreme Rules in a stipulation match. What that stipulation is, I have no idea. I'm very intrigued where this is going. This was very good. This was a very good segment, and it's another thing that I'm also very intrigued on. This is probably the thing I'm most intrigued about on Monday Night Raw, to be honest. So this was very good, and we'll see where this goes. I'm excited to see where this all goes. Liv Morgan and Natalya versus the Iconics. If you think I watched this match, you're a fool. You're a fool for that. The Iconics won in 4 minutes, and they challenged Bayley and Sasha to yet another Women's Tag Team Championship match. So, the illogical decision here is the Iconics lost twice. They lost to Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross on a few weeks ago, and they lost last night. And they're getting yet another shot at the Women's Tag Team Championships. Awful. Absolutely awful. We have to see more of the Iconics on television. They are atrocious. Apollo Crews versus Shelton Benjamin. MVP approached Apollo Crews backstage before the match, and he said he likes his fighting spirits. And Apollo Crews said, yeah, he's a fighting champion, and he'll take on any comers any week. And MVP was like, that's good and all, but you got to be a smart champion. And Apollo Crews was like, thanks for the advice, but I'm going to keep being a fighting champion. So that was fine, but I feel like this is eventually, I don't know, people are saying online that Apollo Crews is going to turn heel and align himself with Bobby Lashley and MVP. I don't see that. I see Apollo Crews being set up here by MVP to eventually have Apollo Crews defend this championship against Bobby Lashley and lose. So that's what I think is happening with Apollo Crews. We then saw a backstage vignette. This was garbage. This was absolutely garbage. We saw Street Profits, Viking Raiders together, and then the Big Show came out and they said, thanks for the assistance against those ninjas. And he said, no problem. This is about the 300th turn for the Big Show. Last time we saw Big Show, he fought Drew McIntyre in the main event of WrestleMania for the WWE Championship, if you guys remember that. And he was a heel. 2 months later, Big Show comes back. He's a baby face. When did this happen? Wow. So then the Big Show said that the games, I did anything you could do, I could do better, has been amazing. No, it hasn't, you giant clown. It's been garbage. Every single week it's been garbage. And he said, why don't we sell this in the ring? You're the Monday Night Raw Tag Team Championships. You're the former Monday Night Raw Tag Team Champions. You guys should settle this in a Raw Tag Team Championship match next week. And then all 5 of them danced, saying, we want the smoke, we want the smoke. This was garbage. No wonder why ratings are in the toilet, because we got the Big Show dancing with the Viking Raiders and the Street Profits. We got the Viking Raiders, a world-class tag team who were War Machine at New Japan Pro Wrestling. They come to WWE, dominant in NXT. They get up to main roster, and they're dancing with the Street Profits and the Big Show. When are people going to start asking when the Viking Raiders contracts are up? Because I would love to know, because they need to get out of there ASAP, as soon as possible. We had Bobby Lashley and MVP versus R-Truth and Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. Let me say that again. Bobby Lashley and MVP versus R-Truth and Drew McIntyre in a tag team match for the WWE Championship. I would love if anybody in the comments below can tell me how the hell that makes sense. I would love to know. I will personally give you a shout out if you could tell me how this makes sense. Please. It doesn't. It doesn't make sense whatsoever. A singles championship on the line in a tag team match, yeah, that's another thing that has Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon's fingers all over it. Garbage. Paul Heyman would not do that. Paul Heyman would not do that. Paul Heyman would try to fix it up and make it in a better situation, but now Vince McMahon's pitching this idea to Bruce Pritchard. Bruce is probably like, yup, yes, Vince, go ahead. Yes, sir. I love you. That's what Bruce Pritchard would do. This match was okay. Bobby Lashley, R-Truth randomly tagged himself in while Drew McIntyre was getting ready to click hit the Claymore. R-Truth got beat up for a little bit. McIntyre tagged in, hot tag. Bobby Lashley went to go spear R-Truth on the outside. Truth threw Lashley to the steel steps. McIntyre gave MVP a Claymore, and that was it. That was the match. The match was okay. Nothing special. I was so nervous that Bobby Lashley was going to pin R-Truth to win the championship. I would have had a seizure if that happened. If Bobby Lashley pinned R-Truth to take the WWE Championship from Drew McIntyre, I literally would have had a seizure. But at least WWE's not that stupid to do that. So McIntyre retained, and Bobby Lashley's WWE Championship program with Drew McIntyre has to be over by the end of the night. It has to. I don't care if he did not take the pin in this match. He's done. Bobby Lashley is done with Drew McIntyre after tonight. He's a loser. Bobby Lashley's a loser. Even though he's been impressive the past couple weeks, Bobby Lashley's a loser. I'm gonna skip the Bayley Sasha Iconics segment because it was just Iconics being all annoying and Bayley accepting the challenge, and her and Banks got in an argument and whatever. I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm gonna get right into Nia Jax versus Asuka very quickly because I want to dive right into this Randy Orton stuff. This match was very short, completely unnecessary. Asuka retained clean after Nia Jax hit a Samoan drop on Asuka. The referee was like, Asuka's foot is on the bottom rope. Nia Jax argued with the ref, pushed the referee down, and Asuka rolled her up, and the referee John Cone did a fast count. 1, 2, 3. Asuka retained. Why are we protecting Nia Jax? Why couldn't this happen last night? This was totally unnecessary. Why do we have to see this match tonight and not last night at the pay-per-view? I don't get it. Once again, another illogical gap by the WWE here. Are we giving Nia Jax yet another Championship match at Extreme Rules because we have nothing to do from now until the end of Extreme Rules going into SummerSlam? Please, stop. I could definitely see it happening after the end of the night because it was not a clean finish whatsoever. So I can definitely see Nia Jax getting yet another undeserving women's championship match against Asuka at Extreme Rules. Trust me, it's coming. And then the main event. Christian and Randy Orton in an unsanctioned match. Before the match started, Ric Flair came out, said, "You don't have to do this. There's no point of you doing this. You've had a great career." Christian said, "I have to do this. I'm doing this for Edge. I want to do this for Edge. I want to fight Randy Orton." Ric Flair said, "Look at Randy Orton. He's a dangerous man right now. Did you not see what happened last night?" And then the bell rings. Ric Flair gives Christian a low blow. The dirtiest player in the game, ladies and gentlemen. Ric Flair gave Christian the low blow. Randy Orton hit a beautiful punt on Christian. And Randy Orton pinned Christian as the referee did a slow count. This was awesome. This got great heel heat on Randy Orton. And I know, and it's not even with fans, but Randy Orton looked like a legend killer. Randy Orton is on a whole new level, folks. You might not agree with me, but Randy Orton is on a whole new level after tonight. So then Randy talked to Christian. He never got on the microphone. He said, "I'm sorry you had to do this. I didn't want to. This was never about you. I never wanted you to get in this. You did this for Edge, and I had to take you out. He never wanted to do this to Christian. This was unnecessary to do to Christian." But Christian sealed his own fate. And Christian got on the stretcher just like Edge did last night. And that's the way Raw went off the air. This was incredible. The ending segment to Monday Night Raw was by far the best thing on the show. And that brings me back to this line earlier. And I talked about it a little bit last night. What's next for Randy Orton? And we're going to talk about it again. Randy Orton said earlier in the night, "I'm the greatest wrestler ever after I won the greatest match ever, and I don't need a title to prove it." Now, I don't know if this is going to be for Extreme Rules or SummerSlam. Quite frankly, it's got to be Extreme Rules because Bobby Lashley does not make any sense to challenge for the WWE Championship again after what happened tonight. It's got to be Randy Orton. And the seeds have already been planted for Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. And quite frankly, after the work that Randy Orton has done last night and tonight, I know people might get upset if I say this, but I honestly wouldn't mind if Randy Orton takes the championship from Drew McIntyre. That's how good Randy Orton has been these last two nights. Do I think it will happen? No. Will I be angry if it happens? No. No, I wouldn't. But that's your Monday Night Raw review right here on the Big Fight Field channel. Outside of Randy Orton Christian stuff and Rey Mysterio, and the Dominic Seth Rollins segment, this was really a nothing show. This was a massive headache to sit through, actually. So I'm getting out of here. Thank you guys for watching this Raw review. If you haven't already, subscribe right here on the Big Fight Fuel channel. You can go check out my match with Eddie Mullins I posted on Saturday. Or actually, he uploaded on Saturday. And the Backlash review from last night. So if you haven't checked out those 2 videos yet, make sure you go check that out. Comment down below what you thought of tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw. Leave a like button if you're excited for a new week of Big Fight Fuel content. And follow me on Twitter at Colin_Joseph, as Instagram as well. And follow Eddie on Twitter at EddieMullins515. And I'll be back Wednesday night for your AEW Dynamite review. Again, I get my job interview tomorrow, so I will post an update if I have to make any schedule changes here on the Big Fight Fuel channel because of my working circumstances. So I'm going to tweet that out tomorrow. Have a good night. Stay safe.